بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we're talking about marriage and marriage in Islam, obviously. And he has quite a lot to say here in the book about marriage. Marriage in Islam is, it's called nikah or zawaj. So nikah means that Allah Azza wa Jalla allows both the husband and wife to enjoy each other sexually and live together in one house and sleep in one bed. It's haram in Islam for two males to sleep in the same bed naked, or women to sleep in the same bed naked. It's haram. Only husband and wife. And nikah, marriage should only be used, I think, for nikah between the husband and wife. A husband and wife. They should have not used it for same-sex marriage. They should use another word. Same-sex something, They need to find their own word. Because marriage should only be kept for a relationship between husband and wife. Also in Islam, marriage is a contract. You sign a contract that you agree to live together, to join together, to enjoy each other. You enjoy everything from your wife, you enjoy everything from the husband, but you are banned from having any relationship with the wife from the backside. So that's haram, forbidden. That's what mainly the gay do, which is haram. And that's why Allah will punish them, because they enjoy each other, which is haram. Now, marriage should be left only between husband and wife, and it's a contract. You sign the contract, and you can't break the contract in Islam. You sign the contract by a word, and the wife agreed to marry you, and their father or guardian will say, Ankahtuka ibnati, I let you marry my daughter, and you say, Qabiltu, I accept. And then from that minute you are a husband and wife, providing there's two witnesses there, and there is a mahr, and then we'll go through this inshallah in a minute. Allah Azza wa Jal made it halal in the Quran because He said, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدًا. In the past, they used to take an orphan girl and look after her. When she is 13, 14, 16, whatever, they marry her. Because he's her guardian, and he married her to himself. So Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran that, no, you can't do that. You can't make use of her being under your care and deprive her from having a choice and having proper wedding, proper mahr, proper selection and things. She's vulnerable. She sees you the only guy looking after her. So he said, if you want to marry a second wife, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Go and dare to marry somebody else from outside. Now. Leave these questions to the end, when we come to the age of the marriage. Yeah, he married her when she was 18. She was playing in the house, she said, when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came and invited her father to become a Muslim. So she was a young girl when the Prophet ﷺ became a prophet. So how would it be? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Playing in the house, aware. So she was 3 years minimum. Then he lived in Mecca 13 years, which was, when she went to Medina, she was 16, and he married her 2 years later, so she was 18, at least 18. Because of her say. Then she said, I married when I was 9, because people actually underestimate their age, especially women. 2 questions you cannot ask women. How old are you? What's your weight? Yeah? Yeah, you agree? So Islam, when can a Muslim marry 2 women or 3 or 4? What's the condition?
If you can deal justly between them.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions.
The previous wives have to agree.
That's right. You get a pen for that. If the previous wife was agreed. Now, if you go across the whole world, find me a wife who will agree that her husband marry a second wife. I found one actually, my auntie. We went to visit my auntie, and she went and found a wife for her husband to marry her. And I said, why? She said, I want to get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him. He keep demanding and asking, want this, want that. So get him married. So he married the second wife. We went the second year to Syria. We said, we visited my auntie, my father's mother, sister. What happened to your husband? He said, oh, the second wife threw him back to me. He doesn't want him. He's horrible. So she wanted to get rid of him because he's horrible. And the second wife said, no, wait. Take him back. I don't want him. But usually when they are young and things, no way. A woman will give her husband an okay. If she refused to give him okay, what happened? And he wants to marry a second wife.
Who divorced her?
He had to divorce the first wife and pay her. He was at fault and he must pay her, leave the mahar and pay her compensation and maintenance and, yeah, what you want to say? Yeah, that. Where this come from? Where this in Islam came from? What's the evidence? Because the Prophet ﷺ heard that Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was married to his daughter Fatima, wanted to marry a second wife. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came to the mosque, to the minbar, and he said, I'm not going to make the halal haram, and I don't want to make the haram halal. But I heard that Ali wants to marry a second wife. But because Fatima is part of me, what harm her will harm me. What will annoy her will annoy me. And I don't want her to be tested whether she's patient or not. And I don't want the second wife, who was the daughter of the enemy of Allah, to be with my daughter in the same house. So he named 3 reasons. He doesn't want his daughter to be tested. He doesn't want her to be harmed, and he doesn't want her to be living in the house with that girl, that woman. And he said, if Ali ibn Abi Talib wants to marry a second wife, he should divorce Fatima first. Divorce Fatima and marry a second wife, you're free. So Ali was afraid, no, I'm not going to marry a second wife. I didn't marry until Fatima died, then he married. After Fatima died, now.
Wait, who was she the daughter of then? Who was she the daughter of?
She was the daughter of Abu Jahl, one of the Kafirin was. But she was Muslim, but she could leak some, obviously, information and things, and being in the too close to Ali ibn Abi Talib, too close to the Prophet ﷺ in sequence. So from that, the scholars, especially Hanbali, took the rules that if you want to marry a second wife, the first wife has to agree, and if she doesn't agree, you have to divorce her to marry a second wife. And he quoted this incident. That Ali ibn Abi Talib was not allowed to marry a second wife while he is while Fatima was alive, and his wife. So, but the amazing thing is, most people who take 2 wives are Saudi or in Jazeera, because most of them are Hanbali. But the percentage of those who marry 2 wives are less than 2%. Percentage of those who marry 3 wives are less than 1%, and those who marry 4 wives less than 0.5%. You can hardly find somebody who married 4 wives. Before I married my wife, her cousin wanted to marry her, and she refused. And he married his wife, and then he married the second wife, and then he married the third wife. I said to my wife, look, I saved you from your cousin. He's one of 3. He will be one of 3 wives he has. But anyway, no woman usually gave her husband a permission to marry a second wife. But my wife, being so nice to me and good to me, she gave me permission in 1982 in writing to marry second wife, and I laminated it so nobody can tear it off. But 41 years passed, I didn't marry a second wife. Why? No one better than my wife, and usually it's a nightmare to run one house. It would be a disaster to run 2 houses or even more. So in sequence, obviously, you're not allowed to have any relationship outside marriage. Islam allows you to marry a second wife, and doesn't allow you to have a mistress. So if you dare to have a second wife, yes, do. Somebody wanted to marry a second wife. He didn't let his wife know, kept it hidden, secret. And On Friday, he got dressed, smartly dressed, put perfume and things. Where are you going? He said, I'm going to Friday prayer. Friday prayer, you're expected to dress smartly and put perfume and things. He said, sit down, sit down. He said, why? I said, this is Monday. On Thursday, she knew that he was going to get married on Friday. She put sleeping tablets in his food, and he slept for 3 days. She said, if next time you try to marry a second wife, I will put enough sleeping tablets, you wake up the day of judgment. So never think about marrying a second wife, because your wife might read your thoughts and you might end in day of judgment. Woke up. Where am I? Oh, this day of judgment now. In Aleppo, in Syria, when they were fight, and her husband killed. So they want to bring the husband to the house, and how would they tell the wife? They went to her, they want her to get really angry. They said to her, oh, your husband want to, buy a house. Yeah, he deserves it. He want to travel. Yeah, let him travel, enjoy himself, Or your husband want this, empty the house. Yeah, I can't, he's in charge of the house. And then they said, oh, your husband want to marry a second wife. Oh, my Allah, kill him before he get married. So, okay, bring the deceased body inside. Anyway, this is a joke. But usually, never ever in Islam think of marrying a second wife unless your first wife herself give you written permission, probably witnessed. And some women, when they reach a stage, like this man was searching for a woman and in Holland, and they had 200 requests from women. A woman was looking for a husband, 200 requests from married women, take my husband. Unless you are really horrible to the wife, want to get rid of you. So, but it is allowed in Islam because Allah doesn't want any outside marriage relationship. It has to be contained always within the wedding log. So you're married. And you should marry the good one of, not the bad one. One of the things we did now 2 years ago, no, last year, we did send a survey to all the Muslims who got divorced, why they got divorced. And we had 104 replies. 104 replies. There were 58 from, 56 from, 54 from women, and 50 from men. Like 50-50, more or less. And 52% of them divorced each other because there were no compatibility. They're not compatible. What happened when they go to get married, young people like you, when you are 18, 20, 22, 24, 30, 34, I don't know, marriage now going up and up, you don't look into the partner in details. What's the habit? What they will do with this? How would they look into this? What's that? That 52% no compatibility. Why you married her if you're not compatible? She doesn't like this, he like this. So there's no compatibility. Like my son went to look into a girl to marry her, and she asked him a question. And he came out and said, why you brought me to this house? She said, what's your favorite color? She asking myself, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite balloon? I said, there was no compatibility. So he said, there's no way I could marry this. So you need to. And then there's no, one of the reasons the women said there's no romance. There's no romance. Oh, this party and that, football and basketball. What about your nice face, your nice looking, your really kind girl and things? He's worried about the football team and who's won and what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in South Africa, what's happening. So you need to have some romance. This is what the lady looking to. Is he a romantic guy, or is he horrible? His mind is also, somewhere else in the cars. Some of you cars. Oh, you see that BMW? He told me he saw BMW coming to Knoll from the beginning of Knoll, and he said, "That's M. What did you say? M. What about? It's 80,000 pounds worth." What was he telling me? But mashallah, he knows about the cars. I know a bit about cars, but probably women don't like cars. They have, you take them out, the garage. It's a joke. Don't take it against you. The garage selling cars is red cars and blue cars. So, but women don't like to look into high performance cars, which is 70, 60 miles in 5 seconds and whatever. The other one, the male roads, is there's no goal. They don't have, I want to do this and this and this and this. There's no plan for future after marriage. What do you do? So in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ said, يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج ومن فإنه غض للبصر وأحسن للفرج. Whoever can get married should get married, because it's good that it lower your gaze and you fulfill your sexual desires. So you need to get married. There's another narration: if you can't get married, fast, because fasting is a protection. But he also said, يا معشر تأخذ الرجال شبهها من النساء ولتأخذ النساء شبهها من الرجال. Men should marry somebody who's similar to them, and women should marry somebody who's similar to them. Especially social background, educational background, religious background, motivational background, ambition, desires. What do you want to do with this? What do you aim to do with that? Because most women, most men are ruled by their sexual desires. Women want to have children and house and things, and men want to have sexual relationship. When I was in casualty, looking after patients, a lot of overdoses comes young people, in the teenagers. They split. Why? Because he left her to another girl, or she left him to another boy, and she takes an overdose. They are emotionally very unstable. Don't make any decision on your own. Islam actually expects you to consult your family, and the woman has to consult her family. The woman cannot marry herself, full stop. A woman cannot go and marry, I'll marry you, I'll go to the marriage. No, you have to get your guardian to marry you. You're one in charge. When I was in Lincoln, a British man wants to marry his girlfriend. He became Muslim, and I checked with my teacher. He said, no, her father must come and give her away. And we invited her family, and she invited he invited his family. And subhanAllah, because we invited both families, they're both English people, Christian, they're not Muslims. They saw what we've done, amazing. That's really good, Their father was quite happy, and we made him, you're important, you have to give your daughter away to her husband and things. When somebody from Warwick, he wanted to marry somebody, and they said, can you do the nikah? I said, yes, but her father has to be there. She's Christian, she wasn't Muslim. Oh no, her father will not come. I said, I don't agree, he must agree. We have to contact him and see that he agrees for his daughter to marry. No, her father refused for his daughter to marry this guy. And they left me. They married in a mosque in Birmingham. And 6 months later, divorced. What happened now? You married somebody, your family doesn't like you. Her father doesn't like you, her mother doesn't like you. A different religion. So will we find any reason to kick you out of the marriage, and they divorced. So there's a lot to the subjects which I need to teach you, really get you on the right path, because unfortunately divorce in Muslim community is rocking sky high. It's very, very high. Many of my children's friends get married, cost them 50, 60,000 marriage ceremony, divorce after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I attended some of these marriages that ended in divorce. Why? Because they are wrong. They are not educated Islamically how to get it right. Because Allah is the best teacher, and His Prophet the best teacher to us. Right, okay, we will stamp number 98, inshallah.